Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Happy Thanksgiving to anybody who is in the States and celebrates Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And I am back with another babysitting video. So as you guys can read from the title below, this is questions that babysitters should be asking. So I'm just going to jump right into it. The first question that babysitters should be asking is for any babysitter who drives, and that is where to park. So if they own a house, it's not really a big deal where you can park, but if they are in a apartment or housing complex, that's usually a bigger issue. For apartments, there is actually usually parking spaces for visitors, so that's usually not a big deal. But I babysat in a housing complex once, and housing complexes are really meant for just the people who live there. It's not meant for visitors, so you literally have to park in somebody's driveway. And let me tell you, if you're not allowed to park there, you're probably going to get yelled at. I have actually ticked off a person for parking in her driveway, and she was very mad, and it made me very uncomfortable to babysit there ever again. And to go hand in hand with that, you should ask if you need to be let in. So I've babysat for somebody who was a college student, and she was living in the college dorms, and those dorms have keys, so the students have keys to get into it, but they have to let a babysitter or visitors into it. So make sure that if it's an apartment, that you have a way to get in. With other apartments, it's usually one set of doors, and you can get into that door, but then there's another set of doors, and usually somebody has to come and let you in, or you need to buzz up to their place. So just make sure you have a way of getting in. The second thing on my list is a list of contacts. Pretty self-explanatory here. Just a list of contacts that you can contact, just in case anything were to happen. Number 3 is emergency contacts. This is super overlooked, I feel like. And even though we should just know emergency contacts like that, we don't have everything memorized that we've learned throughout life. So always make sure that there is an emergency list of contacts and that you know where they are at all times. Number 4 is where the fire extinguisher is. So just in case anything were to happen, a fire were to occur, that you know where the fire extinguisher is at all times. Number 5 is a fire escape plan. So every family, if you guys have gone to school and have firefighters talk to you guys, should have a fire escape plan. Make sure that you as a babysitter know what that plan is and where to take the kids if anything were to happen. And number 6 is where the first aid is stored at. Sorry, I kind of went out of order of my list for a second, but make sure you know where first aid is located. If it's an older kid you're watching, they probably know where it is, but if that child is in pain and something happened, they're probably not going to tell you where the stuff is. So make sure you ask the parents where all of that stuff is. So let's move on to the questions concerning the kids. So number 1 on this set of the list is, are neighbor kids allowed over, and if so, for how long? I've definitely babysat in areas where neighbor kids just randomly come over, and I totally forgot to ask the parents, and they come home and the neighbor kids are still there. So make sure you ask about those neighbor kids. Number 2 is routines. So usually babysitters are evening babysitters, so ask about the bedtime routines and what helps them get to bed. Number 3 is allergies. Now this one's kind of weird. I was told that if a child has an allergy, most likely that stuff isn't going to be in the household, but I have babysat for a family where the mom and the 2 kids are allergic to something, but the dad isn't. So just make sure you know what they can and cannot have. I know they'll tell you to read the ingredients and stuff. Just ask what they can and cannot have. It's just easier. So number 4 is medications. Now for me, a lot of the families I babysat for usually tell me off the bat, hey, the child's teething, here's the medication, here's what you need to do, and they go really in detailed as far as that go. But just ask if they have any medications, especially if you're babysitting when the kid's sick. And I don't know why parents do this, because the babysitter doesn't want to get sick, but they still want to go out. Just make sure you know where medications are. Number 5 is one I think we should be discussing with families, and that is discipline. So every family disciplines differently. Some people are, for example, for crying it out, the crying it out method, and some people are totally against that. Some people are for spanking, some people are against that. Really talk to the parents and get a clear understanding of what discipline methods work for their family, especially if a kid is going through a stage of acting up and they've needed to do a lot of discipline throughout the week. Ask them about that. So just overall ask about their discipline methods. And number 6, I feel like is a huge one, and it's happened to me before, but for the love of all things holy, ask where the extra baby wipes and diapers and clothes are and what to do with those dirty clothes. So this always tends to happen to me when the kid has a major blowout and all of a sudden their wipe supply is super low and their diaper supplies are super low and you can't find them anywhere. So make sure you ask about that. And also, if it does happen where a kid has a blowout, make sure you ask what to do with the dirty clothes. So there you guys have it. Those are questions that babysitters should be asking families, and that families should be talking with babysitters. I think a lot of these things are overlooked. I don't even think overlooked is the word I should be using. I think it's more like underlooked. We take it for granted. A lot of these things, if you guys have done the training, is actually stuff from the training that they talk about. Like, you know, contacts, emergency contacts, where the extinguisher is, fire escape plans, that kind of stuff is in your trainings, and that you should be discussing with the parents. But these other things are really good things that have came up in my experiences, and that I just think we need to be having open conversations with families. So there you guys go. I will see you all next week. I'm really thinking of what kind of video to do next week, but I will see you all next week. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell for notifications so you can get notified whenever I post. Alright, you guys, I will see you next week, and have a great rest of your weekend.